What's up, everybody? Baldy613 here, and today we're gonna ride over and get some dinner at Whole Hog. I didn't do any research on the place. I just know ever since I come down here, we asked for what's a good barbecue place to go while I was in training, and it came highly recommended. It wasn't too far from where we trained at, so it made for a couple of nice dinners while we were here. Anywho, it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks since I had this girl out on the road. I have to, I don't want to say get used to it again, but just still getting used to the new girl. I don't like how much, look at that, look, see that brake? I don't really like how much give there is before that thing starts to bite. Like, it hits when you pull it real hard, or it's harder than I'm used to. We can fix that. Yeah, so how's everybody been? Life has been life for me. Hot, sweaty days of loading trucks and driving 400 and 500 miles a day. Besides that, everything's been good. This thing's dirty, needs a bath. I don't know if I'm gonna go give it a bath today. I might do it tomorrow. I just got back in town today around lunch, so figure before I was a complete lazy ass, I would get out and ride today. Yeah, definitely got to get some maintenance and stuff done on this thing. I want to change out all the fluids, new rotors, brake pads. Definitely want to get that done. Maybe down the road I'll switch out that exhaust, but I like it. I kind of like how it sounds, so I'm still kind of torn about these mirrors. But hey, gotta make some money first, right? He complains about his brakes and speeds into a stoplight. Yeah, good job, Rob. They're not bad. Just see what you. I mean, he gets it. Ah, they're getting a little better. Some of the corrosion's probably getting off of them because I haven't ridden in a while. So while we're riding over here to Whole Hog, it's got good barbecue. It's from what I understand, they won some awards for best barbecue and stuff like that, been voted best, so why not? I think there's a location that's a lot closer than the one we're going to go to, but I've always gone over to this other one and it's always been good, so I might as well keep going. Let's tell some stories. I haven't done one of those in a while. I was telling a friend of mine recently, this story kind of reminded me of it, so I guess I'll tell you guys now. So, oh God, man, many years ago, many moons ago, when I was about 3 or 4 years on the job as a police officer, I received a call for a home invasion robbery. It was from the girlfriend. She said her boyfriend was fighting with the home invader. He had a gun. I was fairly nearby. Usually doesn't matter much with me because anybody that knows me knows I'm not afraid of speed, of any kind of speed or anything like that. Even when I was a cop driving a cop car, that just meant I had lights and sirens and you had to get out of my way so I could stay going faster. So I go to this home invasion. I get there on the first car there. Other cars are coming and you know they're not far behind me, but I'm the first one there. Go running upstairs. This is a guy that lives on like the second floor of like a two-family. Nice guy, nice car, good job. Not your typical. I mean, he lived in a rough neighborhood, but not a drug dealer, nothing like that. You know, just a regular guy. So I go running up in there, and as soon as I get there, the girlfriend's yelling, screaming, "Oh God, they're in here, they're in here." I get there, and bad guy and homeowner are on the ground, rolling all over the place. Yeah, they're fighting. There was a big picture, like, mirror that had fallen off the wall that they had slammed into. So there's like bits of glass and stuff all over the ground, and they're rolling around like he had a glass top table. Like, there was a lot of glass, and they're rolling around on it. So I run up and I tell the girlfriend, I said, "Who is it?" And she's like, "Him in the red." So I grab this guy. Yeah, immediately, you know, I'm yelling at him and wrestling with him. No sign of any gun anywhere. So as soon as he sees me, he kind of rolls over. The homeowner jumps off of him, and this guy like rolls over and like curls his arms up into his chest like he's trying to hide something. See, this is what happens when people don't pay attention. You smack into cars and shit. So he curls his hands underneath his chest, and he won't bring his hands out. And I'm yelling at him, "Give me your hands, give me your hands. Now, let me see your hands, put your hands out." And I jump on him, and I got my my knees, my left knee on his hip, my right knee on his shoulder, and I'm fighting for his hand. Like, I'm just, you know, laying down on the ground. I'm kind of keeping him pinned down so he can't get up. I don't want him to try and get away, but I'm also trying to fish his arm out from underneath him. So I'm fighting with him. Other officers start arriving. They start doing the same thing on the other side. So we got him pretty much pinned down. You know, one on either side of us. We're trying to fight his arms out from underneath him. You know, someone's like grabbing his legs, and he's kicking and fussing, but he's not winning. So we're fighting with him for a few minutes, and finally I get his arm free, and I get it, you know, handcuff on him, and then we're trying to fight his arms to get them together. You know, we managed to do that, get him handcuffed. So I pick him up, right? I go to pick him up, and I see the gun. It was laying right where his chest was. If I hadn't done a good job of keeping him on the ground, you know, and kept him from rolling around and moving around, I don't know what gun, you know, what hand he had his gun in. I don't know. All I know is he couldn't pull the trigger. He'd have shot himself. Either that, or he didn't have a hold of the gun. He was trying to get a hold of it the whole time I was holding him, and I was keeping him from it. Never really found that out. So yeah, the gun was laying underneath his chest. If he had pulled the trigger, he'd have shot himself. If he had managed to get up enough, he'd have shot me. The gun was pointing right at me. Thankfully, you know, I managed to get through that, and that didn't happen. Well, in the course of them fighting before we got there, the girlfriend had tried to help her boyfriend. She grabbed a kitchen knife and actually had stabbed the bad guy in his leg. So he's got a knife wound in his legs. He's got to go to the hospital. Well, we struggle with him to get him to go outside. Like, he doesn't want to walk. He's acting like it's, you know, like most people do. You know, they're like, "Oh, I can't, you know, all dead to the world." So we stagger him outside. We put him in an ambulance. Right as I shut the back of the ambulance, I turned to my boss and I said, "Hey, do you guys need any of his information before I go follow the ambulance to the hospital with him? So we can, you know," because he's not telling us much of anything. Won't give us his name, won't do much of anything. I said, "Do you guys need anything from him so before I go?" And they're like, "No." "You mean that guy that just ran out of the ambulance?" So I turn and look, and sure enough, this son of a bitch had, there's a side door on the ambulance. He jumped up as soon as I shut the door, jumped out of the ambulance, and was running down the street with my hands behind his back. We're gonna put my handcuffs on him. So me and a couple other officers, we take off after him, chase him, you know, a little ways. He runs through a couple backyards. I obviously, you know, younger guy than I am. He's jumping fences by like flopping over them, you know, with no hands. Finally gets to a fence that we're close enough to, we can get him. So we get him in custody and take him back and charge him with like trying to escape and all this other stuff. How I think I even charged him with trying to steal my handcuffs. But so yeah, we get him in custody, you know, and you know, obviously the family was very, you know, very pleased, very happy with us, you know. So fast forward, probably about 2 or 3 years later. Yeah, 2 or 3 years later, I'm working off duty at a church where we normally we direct traffic, but on this day I happen to be inside the church, and so I'm sitting there, and this guy walks up to me and he looks at me. He goes, and I could tell, like, I recognize this guy, and I can't remember where I recognize his face from, you know. And I'm like, he goes, "You recognize me?" I'm like, "No, I don't remember you at all. I know you look familiar, but I don't remember you." You gotta move. So yeah, I don't remember, you know, I know this guy's face, but I can't remember where. I don't know how or why, but so I said, yeah, man, you look familiar. I don't know where I might know you from. He goes, "Well, you used to work up in the Evanston area, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And I'm thinking, great, that's the rough neighborhood, and that's where I arrest a lot of people up there. I said, "Yeah, I used to work up there." He goes, "You remember that home invasion robbery?" And he said off the street that happened on. I'm like, "Yeah," because obviously, you know, that's a memorable experience. And then it clicked to me, and I said, "Oh shit, that was you, wasn't it?" And he goes, "Yeah, that was my house the guy broke into." And I was like, "Man, how you been?" I mean, this was, of all the, you know, the problem we have in a lot of bad neighborhoods like that was people would see stuff or stuff would happen to them, and they'd want to handle it in the streets. They didn't want to come to court, so they were bad witnesses and bad victims. They didn't show up to court, you know, and then guys are back out of jail, you know. And I understand, I don't want to say I understand, but I know why, because they're like, I gotta live in that neighborhood, I gotta see this guy, you know, I gotta see this guy's family and all his old homies and stuff like that. So I said, "Yeah, man, how you been?" He goes, "I'm good." He's like, "I don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for you." And now for me, this is just a long string of random, you know, things that have happened in my police career. But at the time, I didn't think about it as life and death until I saw the gun, you know, was pointed at me. But I forgot about his aspect of it. You know, he came to court every single time, prosecuted the guy, got the guy locked up. But, you know, sometimes we would forget, you know, that, you know, the victims, you know, they continue to suffer through that, you know, down the road. It's a traumatic experience. And he said, "Man, I think he said, you saved my life that day, man. I'll never forget you." Guy reaches out, kind of gives me a handshake and a hug, like a half hug. And he's like, "Man, you're one of the good ones, man. I appreciate you." And he's like, "I tell everybody, you know," he's like, "I was never a big fan of the police, and then you changed my mind about that." And I'm like, "Well, that wasn't my goal. That was, you know, it's just our job, but I appreciate that, you know." I said, "We try and do a good job." And but what got me thinking about this story was, you know, you never know how life is gonna go for you. You never know what's gonna get thrown your way. You can't let obstacles, you know, affect you. And you know, when traumatic events happen to you, you have to move on. You know, and I like to think I did a lot of good as a police officer. More good than harm. Helped a lot of people. Helped people kind of get back some of their neighborhoods from, you know, some of the drug dealing and the violence that was going on. And that neighborhood was one of them. We've done a lot of work. It's happened since I left there, and you know, even before I left and moved over into another district. You know, they done a lot to really clean up that neighborhood. So yeah, that was the time I helped catch a guy doing a home invasion. Things had gone differently. I could have been shot. Victim could have been shot. Yeah. Anyway, go over here and get some whole hog, and catch y'all in a bit. Alright, let's blast this bridge. Take it easy because there's a neighborhood over here. Light came on. Whole Hog Cafe. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. This has been Body 613. If you like the video, hit that like button. It means a lot to me. Leave a comment, good or bad. I'll see it and read it and probably comment back. You know, if there's suggestions, things I should change, things you want to see me do, let me know. Follow me, my social medias, Baldy613 on Instagram. If we're really friends, you'll find me on Facebook. Thanks for coming to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, subscribe button. See more of the videos I put out in the future. This has been Baldy613.